The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Good morning. I am independent journalist Georgia Ford. Cadell Smith joins us this morning. We're about 4.5 months past the death of his brother by a U.S. Marshal. And Cadell, I thought it was important to speak with you this morning because we found out from an attorney just yesterday, actually, a prosecutor said that after reviewing the case, he does not feel like they should move forward with indicting any of the U.S. Marshals who were involved in your death. And so I thought it was important to center your voice this morning and also ask you your thoughts on this prosecutor's determination.
Well, he looked deep into it. He spent all these hours looking into it, and I'm reading the story and the statements that he wrote down himself. I'm seeing multiple errors in this situation. And the only thing he show off and try to justify is that the police,
I'm glad I have that documentation with you because it's not easily made available to the public. One thing I thought that was interesting was this is actually in the jurisdiction of Mike Freeman, Attorney Mike. However, the case was handed off to an attorney outside district because Attorney Freeman, frankly, knows a lot of the U.S. Marshals and the Ramsey County sheriffs that were on that task force. And Brother Mac, I know we followed this case a bit, so I'd love for you to chime in. What do you feel like is the next best step in pursuit for your brother?
Well, first, we're going to keep getting some more evidence. I like the fact that, fast and it's showing a lot about credibility. I kind of, when I first initially met Don and Ryan, I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt and gave him his history. On his website, he claimed he used to be an activist with me, believes in all that other stuff. But after looking at this and actually speaking, it shows that, like, even just some of his statements is tailored towards the narrative. Let me say, I really want to read you some of this, but anyways, your question was, what are we for? We're going to get some more of the information, and we're going to release accurate information because everything that's right now, people bend the truth. Let me just give you one thing real quick. Next steps right now, we actually finna hold a press conference and, bring up some questions and some truths that they're not putting out there.
So, Brother Smith, let me ask this question. Was there body cam video of this incident? And first of all, I'm sorry, before I even ask the question, I want to make condolences for the loss of your brother to you and your family. Second of all, was there any body cam footage of the incident involving the tragic brother?
They saying that the body cam footage came after the fact, and that, I had a full visual of the witness in her interview.
So have you all as a family been able to see the body cam video?
No, not yet. We were waiting on him to make his decision. Now that he made his decision, the wrong decision. It sounds like we're going to start getting that information now. We're going to first go look at the car, and, we're going to request to go see the car. We're going to request that information to see the body camera footage, stuff like that. That's the process we're doing now.
So there was indeed body cam footage of the incident.
Well, I think they presented it as though there wasn't, which is hard to believe because there were a dozen different law enforcement officers that had responded. But the thing that makes this situation different than maybe other fatal instances that we've seen.
You got a point with the different laws, and that's what they're trying to use right now, because basically what they're saying is during this.
So not being familiar with Minnesota, so we're saying that there are multiple jurisdictions of officers that were at this particular incident, and yet they're reporting that there was no body cam footage that was available from any of these officers, including U.S. Marshals.
Yes. So what they're saying is that anyone that's deputized, this is what they're saying. If you're deputized to join the U.S. Marshal Task Force, you're not required to have cameras or even turn them on at that time, because they said none of the dash cams were on. So they say none of the dash cams were on at the time.
I know that your family has tried to navigate these complexities, knowing that there was that loophole and that they've claimed that there's no footage of what happened to your brother. How has that impacted you personally? And do you think that that's impacted your family's ability to seek justice?
We still don't get it. Because with these reports, I really enjoy I can't say yeah or nay, because like I said, I feel like we're getting a lot of evidence just by the statements that we're reading and, stuff like that. And then, once we see the car and stuff like that and can kind of visualize what went on. But I don't know if the way the legal system works, if that'll work, because technically there's no evidence because there was no video recording. And that's what I feel like they were banking on. They knew he was at Stella's. It's in the report. They knew he was there. They was watching him. And now I don't know if they were actually in Stella's, but they knew his car was parked up there because they seen it. They knew he was in Stella's, and they were reporting where he was going. They would tell him he walking across the streets in the elevator. They had people in the ramp to arrest him at the elevator or on the stairs, but they waited until he got all the way in his car. So I feel like that was a strategy to do exactly this.
So Brother Smith, let me ask the question, because clearly what they're also leaning on is that a police officer doesn't have to be shot at, but just being threatened to be shot at. So the question now becomes, did your brother have a gun? And if he did have a gun, was he licensed to carry that gun?
I believe there was a gun in the car. And did he have a license? No. Did he have a chance to shoot at him? I'm highly doubting that even happened.
And even so, what were the conditions that led law enforcement officers to be tailing your brother?
To be tailing him?
Yes.
Well, I know he had like what is it called? A body only warrant or some bench warrant or something like that. So they were after him for the bench warrant. And this statement alone contradicts what Don Ryan is saying in the news, because he's saying by himself, because it's not according to the statement that he wrote down, that my brother may or may not shot first, or he did shoot first, or he doesn't know who shot first. But it tells you right here, it shows you who shot in his statement. I'm going to read it. It's like the third page. It says the lead stack, who's providing cover, is heard yelling, "Don't do it." Then gun, gun, gun. He's got a gun. This task force member begins firing his handgun at Smith. This causes the task force member attempting to break the window to drop the tool, pull his gun, and fire at Smith as well. Smith is seen slumping. Smith is seen slumping, but still moving with his hands out of view. The task force, and then it goes on to talk about how they broke into the window and they pulled him out. Nowhere in there does it say that he even had a chance to fire at the police. So we know who shot first. So I just want to make that statement. One thing I want to put out before you speak is, why would he say this in a statement, making it clear that they shot at him first when they claimed they saw a gun? They shot at him immediately, but then Don Ryan says he shot at them.
And so, Georgia, help us to understand again where this incident took place and how many different law enforcement officials were there, up to and including U.S. Marshals.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry, you did ask that question. So you want to know why they was tracking him, right?
Yes.
Basically, what happened is my brother had, he had a possession of a firearm by a felon. I might be saying it wrong. He had that in like 2019 or whatever. So they gave him a couple court dates. They pushed it back all the way up until they pushed it back to, I think the last one was sometime in May when he missed it on May 20th. And after that, for whatever reason, they decide to send the U.S. task force out to get him. And I don't know if you know much about the, U.S. task force and what they claim to do, but they're supposed to go after the most vicious criminals. People that's murdering people, child molesters, rapists, just sadistic people. For whatever reason, they make it seem like he was one of them. But regardless of opinion, they send out the U.S. task force, so they start planning on how they're going to get him. And it's, before I move on further, because I don't want to over talk without just directly answering your question, that's where it all began. And they started looking at how they're going to find him pretty much.
Okay. And so not being familiar with the area, and I think Georgia was explaining to us, so, and we couldn't clearly hear that because it was technical problems. So there were several different jurisdictions of law enforcement that converged on your brother. Is that correct? And if so, do you know how many of those were from different jurisdictions that were there when your brother was fatally shot?
I believe it was 4 different. I believe it was ICE, Hennepin County, Ramsey County, and Anoka County.
And so all of these different jurisdictions, all of them made up the quote unquote task force, or were some of them working within their jurisdiction, but not within the framework of the task force?
Some of them were, I'm sorry, I'm going to try to answer that. I think I'm trying to answer that. So basically
what I'm trying to get at is this. You're saying that, or it's being reported that because they were members of this task force, they didn't have to have their body cams on. So what I'm trying to ascertain is whether or not there were members of law enforcement who were there who were not members of the task force. And if they didn't have their body cams on or dash cams on, why was that the case?
Okay. Yeah. So what they're saying is that everybody was part of the task force. Okay. Because, and what happens is they can pick anyone from these counties and deputize them and make them a task force member.
I got you.
So once they pick this team, they want this officer, and this officer. They're saying that during this time, they are now deputized to be a task force member, and they can pretty much abuse the laws of the task force.
Well, one of the things that's disturbing to me is that given the distorted history of law enforcement within the Black community specifically, and the fact that this happened so close to where arguably one of the most high-profile killings of a Black man by law enforcement, that being George Floyd, had happened, I find it very troubling that members of this task force would not use body cams, dash cams at all, given the climate in this country. That is what is most disturbing to me. And so what we found historically, time and time again, without without clear and convincing evidence, which is what we had in the George Floyd case, without that type of evidence, it is clear that law enforcement is going to get the benefit of the doubt, and it's going to be an incredibly uphill battle for you, your family, and our community to seek justice in this tragic situation with your brother.
I have a better signal now. But, when you look at, even there was a witness in the car who said that she never saw a gun. And so there is conflicting reports between law enforcement and that only witness. And then when you add to that no, there wasn't any body camera footage. This is part of the reason why I have continued to follow this story, piecing this all together and following this case and looking at the inconsistencies.
Can I say something real quick about that phone thing too?
Sure.
I'm glad you brought that up, Georgia, because the witness said he was on his phone too. But what people don't know is the police admit themselves that he had his phone as well. That's in the statement too. It says, upon reaching the front door, the lead stack team member moved past the front door of his quarters, with the shield up. So they had a shield, which I was telling people they had, shield and gun pointed at my brother. This was done so they can extract him from the car. This is what I'm saying here. Smith is observed ignoring task force members at this point and focused on his phone. So they knew that he had his phone in his hand at this time. They admitted it themselves to Don Ryan, because otherwise it wouldn't be in here, because Don Ryan got to speak to them or at least read their statements. And it clearly states in here that my brother was on his phone trying to go Facebook Live or something, just like the witness stated in her statement.
The witness that was in the car with your brother, did she take out her cell phone? Was there any recording from her cell phone of this incident?
No, her hands was up.
Okay. And so,
Brother Mac, if give me one moment, I just wanted to jump in because George's internet's in and out, and I just want to make sure that we're getting everything in we can before we're out of time. Cadell, if you can just give us information on the press conference coming up, so that everyone knows what the timeline is in the immediate future with all of the updates now.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's going to be this week. I was talking to my lawyer about it last night. He wasn't feeling too good, but I can't give you accurate time. I think it's sometime today or sometime this week.
Got it. Do you know where everyone can find that?
I'll post it. It's gonna be. You can follow my Instagram. It's the only Kidale Smith, and how you spell Kidale is Kidale.
Got it. Brother Mike, I know I cut you off. If you want to get one more question in there, go for it. We do have a couple more minutes.
No, that's quite all right. So Brother Smith, again, we're very sorry for this tragic loss, and but it is your understanding that right now there was no video footage from the witness who was in the car, and of all of the officers that were there representing these multiple jurisdictions, no one had a body cam on, nobody had a dash cam on. Is that your understanding as of today?
Yeah, they didn't have the dash. Yep. They're saying that there was no dash cam.
And so in total, how many officers were there in total? Do you know how many officers were actually there?
12.
12 officers. No one had a body cam on. Nobody had a dash cam on. That's troubling.
That's and it's hard to believe. It's very hard to believe. It's so much information that I can't wait to release. But like I said, that was just a little bit of it. And I'm glad you're asking these questions, because we saying the same thing. 12 officers, and not only that. I mean, let's not forget the fact that they had every chance to arrest him before he got into his car, if they actually wanted to arrest him.
Right. We'll continue to follow the story, and we'll look forward to having you back so that you can help us with some updates on this tragic loss. So again, our hearts and prayers are out with you and your family.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate your time.
No doubt, my brother. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everybody. Y'all know who it is. You know the voice. You know the sound. Good morning, y'all. DJ Exclusive is in the building. James Bubba Williams, y'all. Hope y'all are having awesome morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's Coffee Tea. Get whatever it is you need, y'all. Good morning.
Hood baby with no soldiers. Bad past never left my mind. It's taking over. No, I should have died.
Good morning, all. Good morning. Good morning.
But my heart getting colder. It's all crazy what we've been through.
Forgive me, y'all.
When you die, the only time that they gon' miss you.
Good morning, everybody.
Ooh, just some hood baby with some issues. Hood baby from the struggle. Long time had a hustle. Glad we made it though.
Good morning, all. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Streaming from Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, TV, wherever you're streaming from this morning. Good morning to you all.
Pull up in that rain, see me ballin', yeah. 30 piece on my wrist like a
Anna Hart, good morning. Shout out to Brother Chuck. These are the church lady. Church lady, I did get your email as well, too. And thank you for the tracks. I did not get a chance to listen last night because I was still working until midnight. That sucked. But I got you, okay? Patricia, good morning. Dragon Ball Super Dope, good morning. Lily, good morning. Brother Lateef, Laura Estrada, Rosie Bean, Tiger, what's going on? Tyler Hackner, what's going on, Brother Tyler? Alicia, good morning. The Pioneer, Deb Pedal Benson, good morning. On and on it goes. Good morning. Human love, solidarity, black magic. All my folks in the building. Nicki Minaj's Olin Dragon Squad. Good morning, y'all. Benjamin Dixon, I see, is in the chat room. He getting slack too. Like, man, you off today. Okay. Kareem, good morning. Hollywood 2000, Mark from Australia. Rachel, Shoot the Dragon, good morning, love. Mwah. Thank you so much, too. Mwah. Love you, mean it. Rachel Bannon, Brenda Johnson, the Progressive Linguist. Good morning, Courtney, the SLP. Good morning, everybody. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. We got more coming up next, y'all. Esther Roach, good morning. Ear Hustler, Rosie Bean, good morning. Roller Dragon, what's going on? William Moore, good morning. All right, y'all, it's time to start the Benjamin Dixon Show, so y'all stay tuned. Let's get it going. Good morning, everybody.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Benjamin Dixon Show. I am your guestess, hostess with the mostest, Anoa Changa. Super excited to be here with you at Chex Time, 8:37 in the morning. So much going on in the world always. Wanted to first talk about a wee messaging problem. Comms is something that really kind of gets me going. And we've seen this battle raging on for weeks now, at really months, over President Biden's Build Back Better agenda and whether or not the full $3.5 trillion, trillion as in T, I remember learning about trillions as a kid, agenda will actually pass Congress, or whether or not there'll be some other compromise in between, along with the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which is more like a skinny bill. I know a few years ago, folks talked about a skinny bill in terms of the budget. That's kind of what this infrastructure bill is in a way. But there's been all this vitriol and conversation, particularly in the media, right? Like the media has really driven this narrative about, oh, the cost, oh, it's so much, oh, how will we pay for that? And we know this happens all the time, unless it's anything other than defense spending, right? It's always, how can we pay for that? Where is that money going to come from? Well, as a self-contained economy, you kind of have a little more leeway than a single family, trying to make ends meet, waiting on a paycheck, right? But what was really interesting, a recent poll from CBS found that
while there is a majority, and you don't even hear this reported very much, right? There is a majority of support for many of the provisions within the Build Back Better plan. But very few Americans actually know what's in it. And this is two things for me, right? This is one, a failure of media. I mean, media, talks about, oh, it's supposed to be like, people kind of know, but like only 10% really know what's going on, right? And many of you are probably in that 10%. But, media is supposed to be the fourth estate. It's supposed to be like this pillar of democracy. It's supposed to be like this information tool, right? And often it feeds us this false sense of balance that actually causes more harm than good. And there is a real tension right now, in particular, at the current state of affairs where we're in, with this need to provide balanced coverage. What does that even mean anymore when there's literally information and lives at stake? And arguably, that's always been the case. But it feels like that we're really in this particular moment because media is so much more driven by ratings and clicks and these other measures that are not actually tied to like the health and sanity and safety of, the world around us, right? So this poll was just really interesting. I think the second thing that this poll tells us, like the fact that Americans know so little about what's in it, is that Democrats have done a bad job overall of actually drilling home, not just that President Biden's doing good and this is a great plan. Cool. It's all right. It's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? It's better than what some other stuff has been. But people don't know what's in it. Like, people don't really understand. Like, someone was saying, like, why do we keep calling this a reconciliation bill? Why do we keep calling this the budget bill? I mean, technically that's right, but you can give nicknames and names and other ways to explain things. Like saying this is a reconciliation flies over most people's heads. Until I learned about it, flew over my head too. And I'm a retired attorney. You know what I'm saying? Probably say with some of y'all. Like, not everyone is going to go read whatever white papers, articles, or whatever about these things. Like, we just have to deal with the critical masses of people are not going to go just self-inform themselves when they hear something. And that's not a diss to anyone. That's just the reality of life, right? And so if you really are committed to having this agenda, if you really are committed to moving things forward, why would you not have like some real detail? I mean, folks should be running like digital ad explainers. Like, there should be like, Twitter threads and Instagram posts, and there goes my puppy who decided to make an appearance this morning. But like, I mean, Momo wants y'all to build America back better. So clearly something needs to happen. But when we're talking about things like someone, I can't remember who it was, but they were like, why don't we call this the Get Your Grandparents Dental Care Bill or Help Pay for Daycare Bill or something like that, right? Because these are things that people actually want and need, right? We have, especially if you're around, me and Ben's age, you have aging parents. You have parents going to go into the Medicare program. I mean, this is an opportunity to finally expand the Medicare program to include dental care, right? These are things that folks do not have. Like, my mom was complaining about she's at that age and is signing up for Medicare. And I have another friend and we're trying to help our parents navigate this. It is so unnecessarily cumbersome. And this is something that folks are trying to put some money into to make the system better. Negotiating prescription drug prices. Lots of people want that across the board. Like, this is something that, all that bipartisan language folks talk about. They want to get everybody on board and we're trying to do things for everybody. Well, y'all ain't messaging to everybody. You're messaging to a very niche, select few and trying to make these moral appeals that fall flat and aren't really connected to people's everyday, like, actual lives. So when we're talking about, oh, it costs too much, I mean, that's not being put in perspective about what a necessary infusion is right now, right? We are seeing just this real... I'm sorry, the dog got locked in the room with me and the kids have not come to let her out. I apologize. But we see this real moment right now where, especially when we're talking about states that have not expanded Medicaid, we're talking about states that are still struggling, which is many states are still struggling with joblessness. And not just because employers have not raised the wage or certain types of jobs or things of that nature, but because childcare is still, kind of a precarious situation right now because people are burnt out and tired. And we're still in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, numbers are kind of going down a little bit, But we're still very much in the middle of a pandemic. We still have a good portion of the country that refuses to get vaccinated, and your choice, your body or whatever. But at the same time, there is a very real need that is not being met. And there is a moral argument that has been made by like the Poor People's Movement. I actually got to interview Professor Derek Hamilton with the New School for an article for Yes Magazine that's coming out next month. And one of the things that we were talking about was the moral imperative that exists. There's a moral economic imperative, moral economic argument that not only can be made, is well supported in, the foundational documents of this government itself as to why this plan, not just this plan, but other proposals should move over and center people. And that's what Democrats should be messaging on. Like, this is about centering people. They need to be talking directly to the people and not just hoping that people can organize their way to the bill's passage. There's such a lack of leadership. We also saw this over the weekend with some of the attempts to debunk the HBCU misinformation, so to speak, right? You had several prominent conservative, Republican, right wing, whatever you want to call them, social media accounts spreading this information that Joe Biden was defunding HBCUs. Now, this is all connected to the Build Back Better agenda. There was a proposal in the president's agenda for tens of billions of dollars to go to HBCUs, like more money than has ever been earmarked for HBCUs. It is pretty amazing. It's not everything that Black communities, Black students need, because what about students who don't go to HBCUs? Sure, the ones going into college may benefit from the community college proposal if it gets funded, right? Like, that's the thing. There are these really good things that are being proposed. If they get funded, if they get passed by Congress, then students can benefit from them. So we can't really praise someone for putting ideas out there if they don't actually come to fruition. Because it's like, what are you doing to make sure that your agenda is actually moving forward and actually serving the people, right? So when we have moments of disinformation, like with this HBCU thing, it's really important to not only correct the record and say, yes, the president has done this, that, and the other. Like, I quote tweeted Susan Rice saying this over the weekend. Like, it's very important to just be like, okay, yes, the president and the vice president by executive order have done X, Y, and Z. Cool. But there's this whole other number that's floating out there. And you can't just say, well, that's just incorrect, because the number is not necessarily incorrect. It's what people are saying, who's to blame, right? And like, the blame game in DC doesn't really help anybody out there in the rest of the country who's trying to make ends meet and trying to make it happen in a big way. What we really need is real facts and real information. If folks would level with people and say, look, this is a really, forward moving agenda. Doesn't matter whether you use the word progressive, because progressive, I'm sorry to say, for a lot of folks, it doesn't mean anything to the average person out there in the world who hasn't been to your study group. I'm just going to keep it all the way real. When you talk to regular people, these terms, they don't really mean much, but people do understand dollars and cents. Okay, people do understand that this child care tax credit that I've been getting as a rebate monthly is something that could be permanent and can literally improve my life longer term than just this fixed period that it's allowed for right now. People understand that. They don't need to know that your progressive fave is the champion of it or who thought of it first, but they do understand that particular matter. Now, at election time, you want to do all that bragging? Cool. Go for it. Connect them dots. But right now, when we need people understanding what's going on, when we need people standing up and advocating, because that's the other thing, right? Like, the media kind of glosses over and just focuses on the handful of Democrats in the House and in the Senate combined that are objecting and standing against what the masses of people across both parties want. And this gets back to like what I was saying about bipartisanship. Democrats act like the value of bipartisanship is so important. And yet there is bipartisanship, quote unquote, across the board in the masses of people. When you look at some of these studies or polls, you will also see often that you'll have people who identify as independents, identify as an independent who sometimes caucuses with Democrats. But you also have Democrats and independents, a lot of times lockstep on these things. Democrats may be more in favor, but still you have a good portion of people who identify as independents, and that's a good chunk of the country. And then you'll still have a decent amount of Republicans who are coming along too. That's a pretty good mix and spread. Why aren't we trying to legislate? And that is in some ways a mandate for that type of, vision and governance, that type of unity, so to speak. But they're more focused on trying to unite with people who are working against our collective interests in the halls of Congress, who are not representing even their own constituencies. right? And so, I was just thinking about that Build Back Better agenda, the HBCU thing. The HBCU thing is something that is tied up to decisions that are happening in committees in Congress. This is real wonky civic engagement or civic 101, really civic 201, maybe 301 stuff that people aren't necessarily getting. And so you get these bite-sized comments online that Biden is defunding HBCUs by $30 billion or $40 billion or whatever, when in fact it's a cut that was made in a committee in terms of trying to build together the reconciliation budget to move things forward. Or in the skinny bill, I can't remember which bill the cuts are affecting, because at this point we have we have however many different bills, we have so many different decisions and plans floating around and renegotiations, and something is going to go. I mean, we have immigration advocates who are also really pushing for, the Biden administration, whether it's in the Build Back Better agenda or in other, proposals and promises, do not slide back on immigration. So we need people need better information, but we need better communication. People need better messaging and conversations. These talking points, these zingers on an MSNBC show are cute, but the masses of people are not watching MSNBC. They're not. As much as my daddy loves Mehdi Hassan, it's just not happening. That my dad's also in his 60s, right? We need other folks to be engaging. I mean, young folks are really engaged on a lot of issues, particularly climate change. I mean, that's another opportunity to get people engaged and involved in what's happening. And even though the bill itself or the proposal itself does not go as far as climate activists would like, it still goes a lot further than the infrastructure bill, which does very little. So thinking about immigration this week, so I'm switching topics real quickly. So thinking about immigration, this week is actually Black Migrants Awareness Week. And I think I got that right. Let me double check real quick. But we had, Baji. It's a National Week of Action for Black Migrants. So the Black Alliance for Just Immigration announced last week that this week would be a National Week of Action. And so there have been people have been rallying nonstop since the Haitian migrant crisis kind of blew up and brought attention. But, people are doing tons of different events all over the country. There was actually recently, I think a couple of days ago before this Week of Action, a rally in Las Vegas. People are calling on the Biden administration to end certain harmful practices. Folks are calling for, and some of this stuff is things that people have been, already advocating for already, but you can definitely check out I just want to give a quick plug to the Black Alliance for Just Black Alliance for Just Immigration, which is one of the main orgs. You have UndocuBlack as well as another org. You have the Haitian Bridge Alliance, to thinking about Haiti specifically. But really, part of what they're trying to do is just raise awareness about the status and experiences of Black migrants. Like Black folks domestically, Black migrants are overwhelmingly, disproportionately oppressed and discriminated against in these processes, right? There have been a couple of different articles that have talked about the increase of, why Black migrants, particularly Haitians, are the least likely to receive asylum among other groups. And, we've seen the horrific pictures already that came out of what folks are the debate of whether it's a whip or a long rein or whatever. I'm not a horse person, so I don't know. I know if you're swinging a rope looking long thing at people, what it looks like. But check out Baji and the work that they're doing and some of the partner organizations. I know the Advancement Project has been working with them. Movement for Black Lives has put out a statement. Several different coalitions and groups have been working together to support the work of Baji and other folks. So this is a National Week of Action for Black Migrants. Definitely tune in and plug in. And thinking about Black migrants, there are several cities that have large populations of folks who have come over here as whether they're refugees, asylum seekers, migrants. And Minneapolis is one of those places. See how I be trying to do them smooth transitions? So switching gears yet again as we're wrapping up the Benjamin Dixon show today. Just thinking about Minneapolis, right? Minneapolis does have a large Somali population, and it is home to a very diverse group of people, including folks who are Black migrants. But Minneapolis has also been at the forefront of criminal justice organizing over the past year. Right. And even before that, I mean, there's been work that has been done on the ground in Minneapolis, but we have, elections, local elections coming up all over the place. We have local elections happening here in Georgia. Atlanta is choosing a mayor. Hopefully it's not Kasim Reed or someone else is going to let Buckhead secede. That's a whole nother story. But we have, local elections coming up in Minneapolis with Mayor Jacob Frey running for re-election, city council's up for re-election, but there are also some ballot initiatives, right? And grassroots organizers have this refrain. They're telling people to vote no, yes, yes. So the first initiative on the ballot is an initiative, I'm hopefully anyone from Minnesota, Minneapolis can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But from what I understand, what I've been reading, the first amendment, the first initiative on the ballot is something that basically give the mayor more control over city government. I don't know if it's necessarily considered a weak mayor setup versus a strong mayor setup, but the city council has more control over the city departments and administration than the mayor does. And folks see this as a power grab. So question one is basically about realigning the government and allowing the mayor to have more power. And folks are like, no, this is a power grab by Jacob Frey and the elites that support him. We're not down for that. Question two is a biggie, because question two is looking at reworking and expanding the way public safety is done in Minneapolis. And part of that would be disbanding the existing police department and replacing it with a Department of Public Safety that would be directed by the city council. So currently the mayor has control over the police department. That's the only department he directly controls, I believe. And this, if number two became law, there would no longer be a police department within a certain number of days after its passage. I believe the handout says within 30 days, there would be a nomination of someone to be the interim commissioner. And then they would engage in a process to create the department. And that includes community engagement and data and things of that nature. But what it is looking at more of expansive. Now, it doesn't mean that police officers would not exist at all. So this is not a complete abolishing of police. This is a dismantling of the existing police department. And I believe it's in part, folks attributed some of the issues with the current police department, over the last 50 years, in part, I think too, it was a charter amendment in 1961, maybe, that really ingrained some of the issues folks are saying that have done this. And there's one of the organizations in Minneapolis has actually done a longitudinal study, even going back, I think, to over 100 years since the creation of the Minneapolis Police Department, and really documenting the systemic abuses and problems. And so, folks, the Yes on 2 coalition, folks have fought very hard to get this initiative on the ballot, this language. It went through the court system because, again, elites in the area, people try to claim that it wasn't clear. The actual text of the language, I was actually surprised at how clear it is. If you've ever had to vote on a ballot initiative, you ever had to sit there and try and figure out, what does this even mean? Or an amendment question? They're very confusing, right? And they're often written intentionally deceptively confusing. So you can't really figure out what side you're supporting when you vote for it. This is actually very clear and straightforward. And it gives a little addendum attachment on it too, that kind of explains even further. And so I was actually quite surprised that it was challenged. And the claim was that it was confusing or vague. And it's like, no, it's not. Y'all just don't want this on the ballot, which the mayor's been very clear that he does not like the idea. There was actually something that the city council, folks remember last year, had tried themselves to do, and it did not happen. So there had already been a group of organizers working the end of last summer on moving this ballot initiative forward, and they have succeeded with the Yes on 2. The third ballot initiative in Minneapolis, I think, has to do with affordable housing. So that would be the other yes. So it's no on the mayoral control, yes on expanding and reworking the way public safety is done in Minneapolis. And this would include creating a Department of Public Safety that would be a more inclusive and holistic model approach. There would be, as needed, inclusion of policing to the extent that it's necessary for the city for safety purposes. But it would also include, as his handout says, other professionals like mental health folks as well. And then the other yes is on affordable housing. So there are municipal elections happening all over this year. In November, I mean, Boston has been another major race that folks have followed, and it's a fight to the finish between Michelle Wu, who has been among a progressive favorite, as well as, I keep forgetting the sister's name who's running against her. Well, she's not a sister. She's a woman of color. So I mean, sister in the more general sense. But that was a sore contention for some folks that neither one of the two Black women who were running made it to the top two. I think that's some of the challenge of a runoff system. Sometimes people can cancel each other out. But I think we have to get to a point where we realize that we don't need to just all consolidate behind the one Black person, that people need to run their race, that people need to make the best case possible. And sometimes that might not be the person who looks exactly like us. That might be the person who has really good politics. And I think both Kim Janey and Andrea, I'm blanking on her last name, city councilwoman, both on Kim Janey's the acting mayor, Andrea, whose name, I'm forgetting her last name. This is why I should not ad lib sometimes. But she's on the city council and was the first Black woman to be the city council president. You know, both ran really strong races and just, you know, but there's also someone like Michelle Wu, who, even though she's not Black, has gotten, you know, a little bit of Black support as well in Boston, as well as support from other folks, and seems to be a really solid candidate for the city. I mean, one thing is sure, Boston will have its first non-white man as mayor for the first time in the 400 years since it's been created. And I think it's been 200 and some odd years since it was incorporated. So that's pretty wild. That's a pretty wild trend to break. And so that is, you know, what I had for y'all today. Hopefully it was informative and engaging. I will be back to fill in tomorrow for Ben as well. And I will see you then. Have a good rest of your morning. And I'm going to let this puppy out. Peace.
Thank you so much, Anoa Tonga, for joining us this morning and filling in for Benjamin. We will definitely see you tomorrow, and thank you so much again for everything that you do. Definitely an honor and a pleasure to see you here, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Like not is coming up next. Like it or not. So good morning, everybody. Good morning. Make sure that y'all stay tuned, y'all. We got more coming up next. Like it or not, it's starting, y'all. Make sure y'all keep it locked in and stay tuned.
And claim our freedom. Talking about the freedom.
Love y'all. Good morning. Good morning, Mama and Daddy. Love y'all, Mina. Good morning, Mama and Daddy. Good morning, Q. Love you as well, too. Susan Bradley, KFC. Good morning, y'all. Pixie on the moon. Good morning. Jones, good morning. Michael Dean, good morning. Shamar, good morning. Nat, hey, what's going on, Sister Nat? Amber Layla, good morning. Sophia Williams. Hey, Sophia.
First time I saw you, I knew all the time. It was something in the air that night. and in the way you look at me. I get nervous when you get close and my heart fills up with butterflies. And then you leave me speechless.
Nicole Johnson, good
my
morning.
World turned upside down.
Good morning.
Just say that you won't go and break my heart. Break my heart. Don't break it now. Remember, it's the only one I've got. The one I've got. Don't break my heart. Don't break my heart. Don't break my heart. Don't break my heart. Wanna tell you how I feel instead of keeping it all inside. So hard with you, I don't know why. Believe me, boy, I've tried.
Boondocks Dragon, good morning.
When you're near me, my heart fills up with
Sylvia Jones, it's DJ X3C, DJ X3C, Venmo and Cash App.
My world turned upside down. Just say that.
Come on, Gay Superman, I see
break
you.
my heart, break my heart. Don't break it now. Remember, it's
and of course, he's falling in love with the reporter. Oh, come on, Jesus.
The one I've got. Don't break my heart. Don't
Buster
break my
Be Good,
heart.
good morning.
Don't break my heart. Don't break my heart. Don't break my heart. Just say that you won't go and break my heart. Break my heart. Don't break my heart. Remember, it's the only one I've got. The one I've got. Don't break my heart. Just say that you won't go and break my heart. Break my heart. Don't break it now. Remember, it's the only one I've got. Oh, don't break my heart. Don't break my heart. Don't break my heart. Don't break my heart.
You don't mean nothing to me. E-boys like you every dinner. I don't believe what you preach. You're just a rookie beginner. Hang out with boys on the street. Like that will make you a winner. I don't believe what I see. Why you wearing gold? You're nothing more than silverware. Thinking you're so bold, but all you are is unaware. Walk around like everything belongs to you.
Chris Fleck, good morning. Welcome.
Take off all your
Chris taking the show out. Especially when I drop that like it not remix.
Why you calling me honey? Why you show off your money?
Good morning, y'all. Y'all stay tuned, man. We got more coming up next. Like it or not, it's going down.
If you like me, then say it. You don't get that I see you through this facade that surrounds you. Growing up takes time, so don't you waste mine. You and me ain't right.
But real quick though, which state has the most streets? Which state has the most streets?
Thinking you're so bold.
Rhode Island. I'm here all week, people. I'm here all week. Thank you. Here's a good one. What do you call a fibbing cat? What do you call a fibbing cat? A lion. Hey, lion. I could not start that man. This was Dr. Mac. Why was the stadium so hot after the game? Why was the stadium so hot after the game? Because all the fans left.
Baby, keep keep it right there. Don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up. You should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus. Don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you. Baby, don't you. Baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you. Baby, don't you. Baby, don't you switch up the vibe.
9 a.m. to 10:30, yeah. Like it or not is on your channel, yeah. Politics and culture is we change scan like we supposed to, yeah. Interviews and all the news, we get to choose what gets the views. Like it or not, with Queen Azor, it's starting now, so stick around.
Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, Rebecca Azor is coming through. You know she got a good story for you. Oh, Benjamin, that's my dog. This is his show. He's a politics bro. I am your DJ. DJ exclusive. Y'all know who I am.
I stay dropping them jams.
Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, like it or not, it's starting now. Like it or not,
It's about to go down.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
I was about to take your little spot, Bubba, but I forgot.
I know
you're
you
here.
was, girl.
Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we are free to tell the truth and not care.
And not care who doesn't like it.
All right,
girl, she just want to be in everything. This one, hey, Rebecca.
Listen. Good morning. Today is Tuesday. What is it? September? No, it is not. It is October 12th. It is October 12th. And Benjamin, he's not here this morning. He's not here this morning, but that's okay. We have the team here. We have the Power Rangers.
Come on, Power Rangers.
We have Dr. Carl Mack. Of course, we have me, Rebecca Azor. We have Rebecca Azor, and we have the prestigious DJ Bubba Williams. Look, Bubba Sparks, what's up?
I am your DJ.
You know what, Bubba? I listened to that and I think to myself, there was I know you were in the band at your HBCU, BCC, which is now BCU, Bethune-Cookman University. They just became a university yesterday. But I know that you were in the band there. But did you do anything vocal there? Because you went from dropping the song at scratch, and you dropped the song again, and I felt like you went in and was like you tapped in to the ancestry vibrato.
I appreciate you, Rebecca. I said, you know what? Let me get in my bag a little bit. I'm like, I was just playing the first time. I came back and was like, you know what? I didn't got my little drank again. I didn't smoke me a piece of Black and Mild. You know what? Let's go in this studio and record this. And the studio being my living room, and the studio equipment being this little raggedy ass MacBook.
Okay, so we're gonna need a shorter version for the intro. We're definitely gonna need a shorter version for the intro. But I love it. We gotta add Dr. Carl Mack's name in there. We gotta add the team. So, but anybody have any interesting things that you want to start with this morning before we dive right into the news and give the people, read people fulfilled how we do right here on Like It or Not?
Only interesting thing I gotta say is the Queen is looking Rico.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Because listen, the way I flipped over my bed, like that picture, that one photo of the woman who's sitting, and this is a very popular picture. You've probably seen it in a lot of Black women's homes, okay, in the area where you ain't supposed to sit in the living room or in the bedroom or in the bathroom. It's the Black woman waking up and just on the bed looking like, damn, I'm tired.
Blue Monday.
Yeah, that the painting from what, 1950 something?
I don't know, but it's in my house.
It's in your house?
You got it
to Dr. Yes, that painting to me, when I see it, I know there's a meme that goes around where a lot of people have made memes of it. But I recently saw somebody, and I wish I could find the picture. If I do, I'll drop it tomorrow. But there's a woman who recreated it for her costume. And she looks fly in her picture. She looks like she's posing and like, she's getting ready for the day. And then I see the picture next to her, and I'm like, but the lady in that picture, I want to know. She is suffering. She look like she got about 7 kids. She's probably a leader at a corporation, and she has to do 6 jobs. It's a lot. It's a lot. But this morning I did just roll over. Ben yesterday had tweeted out, or this morning had tweeted out at 3 a.m. something about me being late. And I was just like, Why are we up at 3:14? And I was just like, that's crazy. Why are we up? And he's talking about he's working. And I was like, oh yeah, no, it's not insomnia. No. It's not insomnia at all. Now for me,
he's working.
Yeah, it's right. It's working. I have been having a lot of trouble sleeping, you guys. And I went to the store yesterday after work and I got this lotion and it has melatonin in it. But I didn't want to take melatonin, because when I take those sleeping pills or the Z-Quil, it makes me feel really drowsy. My face hurts in the morning. Like it just I'm tired. But I got the lotion because it has just like a little bit, just enough in there. And I rubbed it on and I was like, girl, we getting some sleep tonight. After my shower, I was like, we can't sleep tonight.
Hey.
When I say I was like this the whole time, like my body was fighting it, but I'm so tired. And I finally went to sleep about 5 a.m. Yeah, this picture. You got it in your house for real. That is the picture.
That is definitely the picture. Okay, I was like, which picture is he talking about? Now I'm like, yes, know that picture.
I need to go get that photo. I want it in my home too. It has I feel like it has like strong meaning and stuff. I really like that photo.
Well, there she is.
That's crazy. Is the author on that painting? By the way, like by chance in the pic?
If it is, I got it framed. Hold on. Annie Lee.
Yeah, Annie Lee. Okay, Annie Lee. Wow. I'm definitely going to look that picture. I need that photo. When I see that, I'm like, I know exactly what that photo is saying. I think of my mom, my grandmother. Now look at me rolling out of bed like... Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those.
I had that moment this morning too, sister, because I was just like, damn, I didn't hit the snooze button about 5 times. So once I looked at it, it was like, that's why I was late, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. That's why I was late. I hit that snooze button about 5 times. And when I finally did get up, it's 7:45 going into 8 o'clock. I'm like, gosh, shoot. Okay, let me get up because I got to go spin these records.
Yeah, but we're glad to have you this morning, and we're glad to have you, Dr. Mack, this morning. And one day we will stop hitting the snooze button so that we fall asleep again. We're not dancing to it in our dreams because we're so tired, too tired to get up. We will stop hitting the snooze button one of these mornings, and we'll be right here on Like It or Not. And then after that, we will check out and go hit the streets and take a nap. Praise God for Jesus.
Okay.
Excuse me, Queen. I got a simple question.
Yes.
What is a snooze button?
Oh, wow. You don't even know what a snooze button is. Well, you are military, so you probably really don't know what a snooze button is.
Dr. Mack doesn't know.
I know you have a military background and stuff, right? Like but like you don't know what a snooze button. So let me tell you what a snooze button is. That's when you wake up.
Queen, hang on, Queen. It was this that's just giving it away. The wink, as in retired.
Oh, I didn't even look at you. I didn't even look at you. I was looking at the work, but I ain't see you. But okay, the wink. Okay,
the wink did it. Yeah, right. Oh, retired. Okay, cool. That's you ain't got to worry about a snooze button those days, right?
Mm-hmm. Listen,
I'm trying to reach that level of attainment. Okay.
Listen. Okay, so because I'll give you a whole
thesis on what a snooze button is, okay? But we're not going to get into that right now. Listen, we're going to get into Texas, though, and that abortion ban, right? I know that it was halted previously, but now it looks like it's back in action. So the lower courts block overturned through October 12th while the DOJ replies. We're going to take a look at this clip, which was from Monday, telling or letting us know how the DOJ has until tomorrow, and it means today because that was yesterday, till Tuesday, to speak on this. So let's take a look at what's happening in Texas with this abortion ban, so we can obliterate them, okay? Because we're gonna read them for filth. Let's take a look.
After a brief pause, this morning a highly restrictive abortion measure is once again the law of the land in Texas. A federal appeals court reinstating that measure late Friday, temporarily halted just 2 days prior after the Justice Department sued Texas, arguing the state's law violates the Constitution. The DOJ now has until tomorrow to respond. SB 8 bans most abortions as early as 6 weeks before many women know they're pregnant. It provides no exceptions for rape or incest and allows citizens to sue anyone involved with providing abortion services after 6 weeks. Since taking effect last month, clinics in neighboring states have seen an uptick in women traveling from Texas for abortion services. The law also prompting nationwide protests, with marches from Austin to Washington. A bill that mirrors the Texas law has been introduced, with GOP lawmakers in other states considering similar measures. The ultimate fate of the Texas law likely lies with the nation's highest court, which previously refused to block the law from taking effect without ruling on its constitutionality.
But we are suffering in Texas, and the Supreme Court must do its job now.
And later this year, the U.S. Supreme Court will take on a case that will be a direct challenge to the landmark decision of Roe v. Wade when it hears arguments in December over a Mississippi law banning most abortions at 15 weeks.
See, here's my problem, because a lot of people did a lot of work and it was halted, right, for a few days. But for Texas to do 6 more jobs on top of that, and this is from the original ban, right? Because we knew.
Oh, don't tell me we lost Rebecca.
I think we just, she just.
Technology is not it today. See, this is what infrastructure looks like in Atlanta, y'all. Okay.
Tuesday's just
Dr. Mack, what's your thoughts on this bill? Because when I tell you that bill is so stupid to me. When I saw that citizens can sue people, what gives you the right to sue me because something I'm doing with my body?
Well, not only that, Bubba, but you got to remember, we're talking January 22nd, 1973. This is by the Supreme Court. This is the law of the land. So here it is that all Americans want to say we respect the law. And here's the highest court in the land on January 22nd, 1973, ruled that abortions were legal. And now in the state of Texas, you're saying that a citizen can violate the Constitution, can violate our constitutional rights? Absolutely insane. That is an example. That is an example, Bubba, of the hypocrisy of democracy.
Yes, absolutely, Dr. Mack.
And Dr. Mack, the other thing that has been highlighted about this and is in the arguments from the Department of Justice is that the case would have a ripple effect across other constitutional rights. So if the court doesn't block this, and it may not block it at the end of the day, it can the same type of law can then be copied to infringe on other rights where citizens can just go wild suing over your right to free speech, your right to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how they're arguing it, that this basically gives vigilante power on all rights.
And David, when you mention the word vigilante, I want you to understand, I want everybody who's listening to understand the importance of your vote. See, when we didn't turn out to vote and -45 was elected the president of the United States, what did he do? He packed the lower courts and the Supreme Court with these conservatives. And so now, to your point, if they're allowed to violate the Constitution of the United States in Roe v. Wade, January 22nd, 1973, what now stops you from violating any right? The Constitution is no more. Democracy in this country is at risk with this type of actions by the state of Texas and subsequently by my home state, the state of Mississippi. That is the detriment of what would happen if the federal courts does not step in, if the DOJ does not step in and stop Texas in their maniac approach to violate not only the Constitution, but you're basically threatening the democracy of the United States. And what we saw on January 6th is, like you said, it's a ripple effect that we can now see this type of vigilante activity going on to anything in any law of the land that somebody feels like they don't like. And at that point, the United States is now cast into a position of anarchy.
I think we have Rebecca about to join us again. But the one thing that I will add is that I just saw a piece yesterday about who actually is controlling the court. And while the Chief Justice is John Roberts, a lot behind the scenes, there's speculation that more power is swaying towards Clarence Thomas because of decades of activism on the conservative side of the spectrum in the legal area. So it should be really interesting to see what happens. It's scary, if nothing else. Rebecca, are you back with us?
Yes.
I love how you guys are having the conversation. And, first and foremost, let me apologize for my system issues, not charging the computer at night. But here I am, I'm back. And just to, when I look at this law and I see how, like I said before, was shut down, child. The 6 jobs that our own officials, and I know a lot of times people say, it starts with the head. It starts with the head. Once we get ourselves in those rooms and in those places, we can start protecting ourselves and protecting our bodies. But we always have these voices that are bigger than ours or that are connected with the bigger folks, right? So that when the ban was halted, I thought, okay, there are people in these higher places that that see us and that matter and that see us, women's bodies as something that is theirs, and understand that abortions aren't just done first, aren't always just done because somebody just doesn't want the baby. There's so many other issues with that. I mean, there's so many other things that are behind that. Somebody may have been raped. Somebody may have not be able to financially support this child. It may be health issues that are attached to it. I thought that maybe that was something that, oh gosh, they halted the ban and now we're somewhere. But y'all, when I take a look at this, when I see this in the bounty hunting in the first rollout of the abortion ban, the bounty hunting that people were trying to set out and do for if they knew of somebody who did have an abortion in that time frame, then they would literally rat them out. And that person who had the abortion may have to deal with jail time, or you know what I'm saying? So I just really look at Texas and their failure of a system. Their failure of a system. They're constantly failing their people. And I don't understand why they're targeting women's bodies. Listen, there's so much more when it comes to abortions. And then, the women have to go out, you guys. And I know some women have to go out and try to take matters into their own hands,
and that
causing some women to possibly have longer effects, issues with their bodies, or causing women to go out and have these black markets do it. Black markets are doing abortions, I hope y'all know. And when you're not offering them the healthy way, because this is a health thing. And when we're saying that abortions are just about, women who don't want the babies or some, Christian and non-Christian and all that stuff, there's so much more behind it. And you being Texas or any other state should not have ownership over a woman's body. You do not own a woman's body. And their choice. We can't walk around and say your choice. It's not our choice.
The thing that you take a look, when I say the hypocrisy of democracy, think about these 3 things. Think about the Second Amendment. Think about Roe v. Wade. And then think about COVID. See, on 2 of these issues that are more germane to the conservative party, it is individual rights that matter. It is my individual right per the Second Amendment to own a gun. It is my individual right. Damn the pandemic, damn the 700,000, damn the worldwide deaths that have occurred because of COVID. You cannot mandate me to take a vaccine. But now, when it comes to individual rights of a woman and what she wants to do with her body, and her partner deciding what they want to do with this pregnancy, now all of a sudden those individual rights mean nothing, even if it means going against the law of the land. That is what I mean by the hypocrisy of democracy. And if this should take place, anything that the Conservative Party decides they don't like, be it constitutional, be it the law of the land or not, let's go back and overthrow Brown versus Board of Education and move us back from desegregation to segregation. Anything that they so desire that they want to do, this now becomes the precedent if it is allowed to take place. And again, if something like this were to happen, from the day that we signed the Treaty of Paris in 1783, thereby ending the American Revolution, now adopting the Constitution of the United States in 1788, every one of those 25 amendments now mean nothing to anybody who chooses to want to challenge any and all of them, not just from a court system, but in this case of what Texas is doing, we're talking about citizens, as Bubba said. Now a citizen can now go out and be Dog the Bounty Hunter and go after you and now wreck the very foundations of democracy of the United States of America. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
It's unbelievable. And I sit in there and I think, I'm like, dang, will we ever be? We will never be free. We will never be free with how this is literally, the laws are made to, and you know, the people who are going to be affected the most, I would say it would be the white folks, because a lot of times, you know, mistresses and things like that, they can afford these things. They can afford these abortions. They can do these things. But I feel like it will be minorities who are affected at a high rate when it comes to this.
Yes,
because
very much
you know
so.
they have the Planned Parenthood on their side when, you know, they're not insured or things like that, to make sure that they get the care that they need properly when they do not have the money or things of that sort. There are clinics locally that can assist them. But in this time when they're saying they're banning abortions, over hundreds of people. Okay, it's reported that over hundreds of people were turned away in this time that the ban has been active. They had to turn away people from getting abortions. And let me tell you something. Like I said before, and I was very candid about it, and that was my first time even saying it ever, talking about it. But I haven't had an abortion, and I had to have that for myself. And if I didn't have that, I don't know what my life would look like today. Now, you know, and even in my life today, now that I'm older, I have a different view on it. I would not. But the girl back then, she had to. She had to, for so many different reasons. And, you know, we need the opportunity to have that choice for ourselves, for whatever reason, whether it's health, whether it's, you know, financial reasons, religious reasons. We need that for ourselves. The one law cannot take it from us. It can't.
Queen, the thing that I would say is this. You don't have to explain to anybody why you did that. That was your choice.
Absolutely.
You don't have to explain to anybody and hope that they understand. That is what free choice is. That is what democracy is about. Now, I would challenge you on this. It's not that we'll never be free. Don't look at it that way. Look at it in a way that the struggle continues. For as long as we're in this country, the struggle will continue, because we are going to be free. Trust and believe.
I hope, if not in my lifetime, I hope in my baby's lifetime. If not my baby's lifetime, I hope some, because I know our ancestors probably thought the same thing, that, you know, we probably would never be able to be on a, you know, on our, let me not say our Lil's television show, our show, you know, and talk about these particular things and have these conversations and hold these white folks and black leaders accountable. They probably never would have fathomed that, but here we are. So hopefully, Lord, in the day of what our Lord 2021, in the future, we have that opportunity where, you know, the struggle won't be as it is. I hope that it definitely progresses where we struggle less. Because I'm like the lady in the picture, Anna Lee. I am tired. Tired.
That's been a new hammer right there, baby. You sick and tired. We sick and tired of being
sick and tired. Sick and tired.
Sick and tired.
Like it or not.
Like it or not.
There you go.
Now, guys, you know, I'm hot about the abortion. I hope that I hope the response today, I hope something, I know people have been outside with their signs. I hope something changes. I just hope. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what comes of it, because I'm pretty sure something will be, after we get off the show, will be updated. And I hope it's something positive. But go ahead.
Queen, I'm gonna say this as a Sunday school dropout queen. Don't hope, baby, because as they say in the good book, faith without works is dead.
It's dead.
We're gonna keep on the struggle. Ain't no hope. We're gonna just keep the struggle going.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. Look, okay, Dr. Mag, whatever you think, because I don't like the struggle. I don't like slavery. I don't like poverty. I don't like the struggle. I don't like none of it. I don't like the reminders either. I don't like the reminders that this a country that I live in believes that it has agency over my body. I don't like that. I don't like that it reminds me that I'm Black every day or that I'm a product of immigrants. I don't like that. I'm tired. All right.
That's all right. We shall
TIIED.
Just remember that scripture that came to you came via a Sunday school dropout.
All right. I hear you. So this next story, you guys, it's probably going to get us a little tense. I really wanted to cover it when I saw it first, but we had, we get on the show and we start covering some stories and we don't got time, Right. Now this one was a video of cops dragging a paraplegic, and it sparked outrage. Now, they dragged this paraplegic out of a car after he stated he was paraplegic and wasn't able to get out of the car, and why. And he even asked for, the higher up for the police officer so that he can speak with that person. Now, this is going to be a trigger warning for all of us, and viewer discretion is advised. And even to see the officer himself is going to be very interesting. Let's take a look.
Clifford Owensby, as seen on this body camera footage released by Dayton, Ohio police, repeatedly explained to officers that he was a paraplegic and had no use of his legs. Owensby was pulled over September 30th in a white Audi in Dayton, Ohio. Police say it was seen leaving a suspected drug house.
You can cooperate and get out of the car, or I'll drag you out of the car.
The police released video was edited. NBC News cannot confirm what happened before or after. The officers forcibly pull Owensby out of the car by his hair, pinning him to the ground, then dragging him towards the police vehicle. Police say they found more than $22,000 in the car. The narcotics canine dog signaled it had been in close proximity to illegal drugs.
I feel like they need to train their officers to deal with disabled people in a more efficient manner, treat them with respect. I had to stop past one of my properties to get my cable boxes. I was pulled over by Dayton police. The officer continued to yell and ask me to step out of the vehicle. I asked him, can he call his sergeant? I knew that how aggressive his tone was, that it was possible that I could get hurt if they just pulled me out of the car. He reaches in the car and unbuckles my seatbelt and proceeds to try to snatch me out the car. My first instinct was to grab the steering wheel, so I grabbed the steering wheel, and I believe I closed my eyes because I did not want to see what was about to happen, and I just held onto the steering wheel as tight as I could. I don't see where I did anything wrong in this matter. It was totally humiliation.
But the Dayton Fraternal Order of Police defending the officers, saying they offered to assist Owensby, but sometimes the arrest of non-compliant individuals is not pretty. The mayor of Dayton calling the video very concerning, adding a full investigation is already underway.
So I watched the full video without the edits or whatever, what appeared to be edits, and just really my camera. But just watching everything, he already had said I'm a paraplegic and I'm not able to walk. I'm not able to do anything. So I'm calling my friend who's going to come help me get out of the car. I don't want y'all touching me. I don't want y'all to help me. The officers did not listen to any of that. He's like, step out of the car. How the hell am I going to step out the car and I can't walk? I don't want you touching me. I don't want you helping me. So I'm going to call my friend to meet me here that will help me get out of the car. Then you can do whatever it is that you need to do. But you putting your hands on me and dragging me out the car as a paraplegic man, and I'm telling you that I'm paraplegic, and you can see the controls on the steering wheel. That makes no sense at all.
So Bubba, why is it that they could not listen? Forget hearing. Hearing is the sound. Listening is you understand what is being said to you. So why is it that these cops could not listen when this man told them he was a paraplegic. Why is it that they couldn't listen? Because the only thing they saw was a black man. And now, if you listen to the words, he had $20,000, and it was in the canine dogs determined it was in close proximity of a drug. See, all of those are code words to say we have probable cause to do this. Since when is it illegal for somebody to carry around that kind of cash? I remember when I was in Seattle and I sold the first version of my Black History calendar. I drove a 1993 Mercury Tracer. Left the windows down because I knew nobody would know that anything was in there. I oftentimes had about $10,000 worth of cash in that car in the back seat. See, so what is illegal about that? The only reason that common sense could not be applied in this situation is because these thug ass cops, all they saw was a black man. Nothing humane
in a nice car.
Nothing humane about what they did. And then for the mayor of Dayton to say this is very concerning, what the hell you mean it's very concerning? So to your point, Bubba, you can look at the steering wheel and see that this man's had controls on this steering wheel, that if he's telling you he's paraplegic, the controls on that steering wheel validate what he's trying to say. But instead of trying to be reasonable, they could not listen because all they saw was a black man. And these thugs acted in such a thuggish way. And I want you to understand what the definition of thug is. You know, that's a person who commits a heinous crime. And to drag a person who is a paraplegic out of the car when they have told you that they do not have use of their legs, that is a violent act. Thus, the appropriate term of thugs is applied, like it or not.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I agree with you 100%. When I saw this video initially, I thought about, wow, I'm seeing this man be dragged out by his dreadlocks, by his locks. And while they dragged him, sorry, this is my job. Look, I'm trying to see, did they give me, am I in trouble for tweeting out this morning? But, and while they dragged him, what I saw was him and his legs separated. They done had that man pulled out of the car by his locks, and then his legs are left behind. And it almost looks like they threw his shoe in the car. As reported by the Huffington, they really wanted to. This is what officers do, black and white, because the black ones believe that they're, you know, a united front. And when they put on that outfit, when they put on that uniform, they too have to walk in the white supremacist way, you know, the systemic way that is built and drenched in white supremacy. Now, you know, what I read, according to the Huffington Post, is that a 3-year-old was also sitting unrestrained in the back seat of the vehicle and was also removed. So don't know if that was his kid or not, but just imagine. It's almost like they do this to I've said this a lot about when I see these officers and what they do to especially young black men. How when these thugs do this to young, and I keep looking at this arm and I'm like, is that a black man pulling him by his hair? It's just very, it's pissing me off. But whether black or white, these police officers literally abuse their power so many times. These thugs, these pigs abuse their power and do not do, and they call this protocol. They call this protocol. If the person is saying they're a paraplegic, right, they are telling you, why are you pulling me out of the car? Why are you asking me to come out of the car? And I can't come out of the car the way that you think because I ain't got no legs. Like, I'm a paraplegic. Hey, like, hello. And you still are telling me if you don't come out the car, I'm going to make you come out of the car. The embarrassment, the belittling, the identification and trying to hone in on that, what the weakness is on this person and making them feel small. That is what these officers, we see them in these videos, they constantly do. When we saw that one, the officers, when the man pulled into that gas station, when we saw that on video and he made him get down and the man was saying, hey, I serve for this country. So, and he literally made him get down anyway to belittle him. This is what we see these officers do all the time, abusing their power. And it hurt me to see that man treated and dragged out like yesterday's trash. Yeah. Yesterday's trash.
And Queen, also remember this situation. When a brother was at a convenience store and the cop now told him, show me your identification. So the guy reaches for his wallet and the cop shoots him. The thug shoots him saying, well, I thought you was reaching for a gun. Well, fool, what you want? You just told me to show you my identification. I'm reaching for my wallet. You sitting there looking at me, and now the thug shoots him. But see, here's the other piece to me. Now they want to say, and if you listen to the narrative closely, well, he was seen coming from a suspected drug house. Okay, so now let's call it probable cause. So you think you got probable cause. Where's your probable logic when the man tells you I'm a paraplegic? And to Bubba's point again, you looking at a steering wheel that shows you that this man is telling you the truth, that he has controls on his steering wheel that would indicate that he is a paraplegic. Where's your common sense? Where's your probable common sense there? You don't have it, and you don't have it again now that you mentioned his hairstyle, Queen. You don't have it because you're seeing a black man. You're seeing locks, and now all you see is now I got license to abuse my power. You thugs, all of them.
And then my thing that irks me to the core about this as well too is that he had over $22,000 stuffed in the floorboard of the car. The cops didn't know that when they pulled him over. They didn't know that when they pulled him over. They didn't know any of that until after he was already out of the car, and y'all starting to search and tear up the car just because he was at a suspected drug dealer's house or wherever the hell you say he was. To me, it's just pointless. It really makes no sense at all. And they try to frame that fraternal order of police, some BS, straight up BS.
And trust and believe, Bubba, the FOP will be calling you, talking about will you contribute to the fraternal order of police. All I got is one question for them when they call me. Do Black Lives Matter? Click, they hang up. I don't have to hang up. They hang up when I ask that question. And here's an example of why. And don't tell me that it is a few rotten apples, because to your point, Queen, it looked to me like there were black officers in that video as well. And even if
a couple of them,
even if some of these thugs were not the ones who grabbed this man by his hair, those who stood around and watched, in the words of Dr. King, it comes a time when your silence is criminal. And they're just as rotten as the one who placed hands on this brother and pulled him out of that car. Thugs them all.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And go ahead.
Just to clarify on the story, in the press conference when Clifford was speaking, he did say that the one that initially that one of the cops was white. I think it's the one that initially grabbed him. He didn't specify the other one, but to your points, they weren't all white. He is a father of 7, and the child in the car was his.
Okay, thank you for that.
Even if you come to the point of the child not being restrained, it is possible that somebody else placed the child in the car and maybe didn't buckle in, and it was just an accident. Now, if that seems like, Carl, you're reaching, okay. There have been cases where parents have left their children in a car, and these children died of heat stroke. And the parent argument was that I simply forgot. And they got off of that. But now, you want to now say we're going to charge him because a child was unrestrained in the car. But Bubba, to your point, they had none of this. They had none of these facts when they pulled him over, because he came from and they didn't say he came from a suspected drug house. He was driving by what was deemed a drug house. So had no reason to do what they did. And now here comes the narrative. And we have to pay attention to the narrative in which they use, because this will become their justification to say there was nothing wrong about what happened to Brother Clifford.
Yes. And I think in this particular moment, I don't even know what's going to come of this because of what the cops didn't know when they pulled him over, right? They didn't know that he had that amount of money in the vehicle. They didn't know that he had a child that was possibly unrestrained in the back seat, 3 years old. They didn't know that he was a paraplegic. All they saw was a black person with that hairstyle driving the car, to your point, Dr. Mack. Yep. And so now what they do is they challenge him. All he asked was, hey, could I speak to the detective, the higher up? I need to speak to someone over you because you're not listening to me. And they thought, oh, this ER is trying to challenge me? Oh, no. I'm a police officer. Okay, Blue Lives Matter, thin blue line around here. You don't speak to us in no kind of way. So now I'm going to embarrass you and I'm going to belittle you. And that's why I think that Clifford Owensby, went over to the NAACP, and I'm glad that they saw it like that because they know what he would be viewed as in the media. Those points that I just told you were highlighted in the article that I read because that's what they want us to see. So in the media, they want us to view him as a thug instead of what we saw on video. What we saw on video were these cops not acting like the good cops, not having the proper conversations, not going by what we know to be protocol, right? We caught them doing what we know that they do all the time, but now it's on video. And even though we see it, the narrative that they want to put out there about this man, Owensby, Clifford Owensby, is that he's a thug. He's possibly a drug dealer. Mm-hmm. And he's over here putting his child's life in danger. Let's focus on that.
And Sister Queen, what would be very interesting if we could do this is to now go back and show the video of the ex-Port Authority commissioner who was on the side of the highway absolutely berating the highway patrol about the fact that they pulled over her child who went to an Ivy League school along with some of her classmates. I mean, absolutely berating this woman, knowing that all you had to do was just imagine that this woman was a black woman speaking to these cops the way that they were. Oh, they were so mannerable. They let her just go on and go on and go on. And now here's a man in a very calm, demeaning, a very calm way, explaining to you that I'm a paraplegic. And this was the result. Because I guarantee you they didn't lay not one hand on that white woman when she was berating her. And if you pull that video up and listen to the audio of it, of how demeaning she was to these cops, they
I remember
sat there very calmly. And now here's this brother sitting there very calmly, and look at the actions. I'll say it again: they're not cops; they're thugs. Those who pulled it out and those who stood by and allowed it to happen. Thugs, right?
And I was going to let y'all know he was ultimately cited in municipal court only for traffic citations, failure to restrain a child in the back seat, and for tinted glass. Yeah, so that lets y'all know they were just trying to find something to throw on him.
Oh, no doubt, because the fact of the matter is, no matter how much cash he had in his car, there's nothing illegal about the fact that he had cash in his car like that. But again, they want to paint the narrative coming from what we suspected to be a drug house. He's got a bunch of cash in his car. Oh, and the K9 dogs, they sniffed it out as though it was in close, look at the language. The money was in close proximity of drugs. Out of here.
Right. So I've had money close to drugs before. I mean, we've all had money that's been close to drugs.
Listen.
Right.
Listen. I don't know. Probably all the money that we touch has been close to something. Somebody has utilized it to do a lot of things. Okay. Now,
strippers.
So listen, talk about it. Okay. They're not only swiping credit cards. So anywho, because we are at the end of the show, we're at 10 o'clock. We're at the end of the show. Sorry to end you guys like that. Just wanted to give a quick update on Owensby. As we saw in the video, he filed a complaint against the police department with Dayton's NAACP for profiling him, as we saw, for unlawful arrest, illegal search and seizure of his vehicle, and for the officer's failure to read him his Miranda rights. Okay. So, the NAACP was like, oh, so we saw this video and we saw he didn't reach your Miranda rights. Let's add that to it. So before he was taken into custody and was transported to jail. So that's according to the local chapter from this weekend. So we will be on this, continue to follow this as this develops. Yeah. Oh, for sure. And hopefully something great comes out of this, because we're not dealing with that. Yeah. We will not stand for it, or we will not. Okay. So, but to catch us in the after party, I hate to leave y'all. We will not have it all, but I hate to leave you guys like this. So, Bubba, please give them something they can vibe to. And for all of you guys who aren't Patreons, you're going to miss out on a great after party. But there's time. You can become a Patreon today at patreon.com/like it or not. Patreon.com/like it or not. I love you guys. Meet it, and I'll see you in the after party.
After party, meet it, y'all. Yeah. This is what y'all know what time it is.
Get your coffee, your tea, your remix, whatever it is you need.
Only a piece of y'all. Thank y'all so much again for tuning
9
in.
a.m. to 10:30. Yeah, like it or not, it's on your channel. Yeah, politics.
We enjoyed y'all today. Make sure that y'all tune into the after party if you have not already become a patron. Patreon.com/like it or not. Patreon.com/like it or not.
So stick around.
After party. Here we come.
Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, Rebecca's on is coming through. You know she got a
Terry Stacey, love you.
Good story for you. Oh, Benjamin, that's my dog. This is his show.
We'll see y'all in the after party. Make sure that y'all stay tuned.
For me, there ain't no other, but you just couldn't be bothered. You never knew what love is about. It gets me 'cause there ain't no doubt. There is something about you. Thought I was nothing without you. You made me beg and you made me crawl. You played me and you made me fall for you. It's sad but true. You're no good, still I'm loving you. But I made up my mind. I'm gonna pack my bags up, walk out the door. I won't be back, you'll see me no more. No, no.
All right, y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. We got some more coming up next. We are in the after party now.
You know I don't wanna fight ya, but there is something about ya that makes me wanna scream and shout. You left me hanging down and out. I think you never leave me.
Okay.
But you cheated and deceived me. You never cared for me at all. You had me at your beck and call. It's true, I'm a sucker for you. You're no good, still I'm loving you. But I made up my mind. I'm gonna pack my bags, I'll walk out the door. I won't be back, you'll see me no more. No, no. You better leave me alone. I miss you, but I'm sick and tired of loving you. Don't know why, just know that I do. Please leave me alone. I'm gonna miss you, but I'll be gone.
Yes.
I sure will miss you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss you. I'll be gone. I sure will miss you.
David, yes you are. What are you talking about? right, y'all. Welcome back to the studio. My sister from another mister, my other brother from another mother, Dr. Mac and Rebecca Azor.
Listen, I was just like, let me put myself away. I was looking at myself like, where is my Zoom? But my FaceTime camera came up, and I was like, "Girl, you cute." So I was looking at myself in the listen.
Looking in the mirror like, damn, I don't brag enough.
Okay, look. Okay, so I know that we started off really heavy. There's a story that I want to get into, but I don't want it to be in the after party. I'm just gonna just tiptoe around it to let you guys know that we will be discussing this in tomorrow's show. So to prepare for that, trigger warnings and discretion is advised. But the Jelani Day story, just quickly, briefly, the young black man who was missing for a long time and finally found, and the details surrounding that are very interesting as well. When he was found, he was found in the water, and his kidneys and organs were not how people were saying that they were being sold in the black market. They actually were affected due to him being in the water so long. His parents, not knowing that the body was found, and they never knew what was going on with the body for about over a few weeks. So there's so many details surrounding Jelani Day, and I want to juxtapose that with the white woman, and I forget her name right now, but the white girl, the young white woman who was missing, and how that was all over the internet, how that was all over the media, and that was wall-to-wall coverage. But with Jelani Day and many other black faces that go missing, we don't get that wall coverage, and we don't get the instant understanding about what happens or what happened with those people. So, I definitely want to touch on that conversation tomorrow. So be prepared for that, because that's going to be one interesting story. And as we have updates with the recent funeral that happened, I think back to Emmett Till, and how the mother, because of the decomposition of Jelani Day's body, and the story surrounding it, and the questions surrounding it, how the funeral happened, and she felt like that wasn't even her son in the casket. So that conversation for tomorrow. But I don't want to end y'all on that note. So we're going to go into some Black joy now for this clip that I'm going to play. For those of you who think that gospel music has gone too far. Now, Kirk Franklin, right? There's this challenge online with Omarion. Now, I've seen this video long ago. I remember when it happened. And I guess, the TikTokers on the TikTok, they thought it was funny to recreate it.
Everybody.
Yeah, but Omarion doing a particular dance. This is back when Omarion cut his hair, cut the dreadlocks, and wanted to show the kids that he still had it. So that went viral. Everybody was recreating it. But this specific recreation from Kirk Franklin, I think it's a winner. It's a winner. Winner chicken dinner. Let's take a look at it.
It's one.
So,
damn Kirk
like
Franklin.
I said, for those of you who think that gospel music has gone too far, now, Kirk Franklin is the one to say that, okay? And every time I see him doing something, this is funny to me, though, but the hip thrust at the end, I know it had them saved saints. I know it had the Jesus Juniors. I know it had them in the amen corner like, my God, today. But why?
The Christians is like,
why?
And you know what we should have did? We should have downloaded the original so we can show them what Omarion did, so they'll see what Kirk Franklin did as well too.
Yes, because I need y'all to know that Kirk Franklin is a dancer. Kirk Franklin did, we've seen that he's a rapper. Kirk Franklin is for the streets in the church. Kirk Franklin will bring you the hottest rapper to be on the track.
Right.
But I didn't understand. This is funny to me, but I'll be like, what was the point? What you did? You literally got a whole production going on when you could have done this in your house. You could have done this in your household. You at the church, hip thrusting.
And then, Rebecca, you forgot that Kirk Franklin is one other thing. That's Plies, baby.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Y'all can't tell me him and Plies don't look alike. That's Plies.
Y'all can't forget that Kirk Franklin, he's still real. Y'all remember that video? I wish I still had it loaded in here.
Oh,
when he was cussing out his son. Kirk Franklin ain't for play.
You need to find that video because I need to hear it again. I need to hear that again. The video that Dwayne is... Yeah, the video that Dwayne is talking about is a video of church man. You know, he's not a Sunday school dropout like Dr. Carl Mack, but this church man, this current Sunday school teacher, who had there was a leaked voicemail or a leaked conversation between him and his son, leaked by his son, where he was reading. He told his son, he gave his son some unchristian words, but that's all right though because Christian folks cuss. I cuss every day, and God don't love me no less. Let me know that.
Listen, right. I just want it known that when we hold services at 18 Hope Baptist, we don't tolerate that kind of behavior. I'm just saying.
18 Hope.
Listen, this conversation between him and his son, I feel like is like one of those black what's understood don't got to be said. We listened to that and we were like,
And everybody talking about you should feel some type of way. I don't feel no type of way. That's real. Hell, y'all think these tough.
Kirk. They said cancel Kirk. I said I don't get into black folks' family business.
Exactly.
All right,
I don't get into black folks.
I was able to track it down. Here we go.
My dog.
Okay, if you think I'm bringing this paper, let me say it like this. When your bitch ass starts you need to get your skinny motherfucking ass back out the goddamn way before I put my foot in your ass because I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. Shut the fuck up. I'm old.
And I'm sorry, viewers, for the language.
I will punch your neck, nigga, if you ever disrespect me. I did it.
Sorry, y'all. This is not supposed to be fun. But that don't you ever disrespect me.
Hey,
I said, for those of you who think that gospel music has gone too far, in my household, in my Haitian household, y'all would think that I need to be literally disowning my parents for the way they spoke to us when we disrespected them. Now, especially when we try to put them on blast, reaching out to other family members, you know, telling, no. Y'all would think that I have to disown my Haitian mother and father. But you know what I'm saying? But in some cases, some parents are just through. Kids be acting up. Not saying that this was right or wrong. It's none of my business. Okay?
Right.
But I just wanted to let you guys know that Christian people go through it too. Their fathers, their mothers, they got kids that are disrespectful. Sometimes they're not the best parents. This stuff happens. They were like, they cancel him. He's not a good father. He's this and that. We don't even know if their relationship has healed at this point. I know that he said he was working on it, right? He put out a message the next day and talked about it. But that is, you know, I like to see people being real like that.
Exactly. And ain't nothing wrong with that. He was real. Because his son needed that.
Is that what y'all call it? Listen.
He needed that.
I'm obviously the old man of the group. I'm telling you right now, a man of the cloth wants to sit there and preach the gospel to me, and in his testing time of trial and tribulation, as they said, the true measure of a man is not where he stands in times of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in the times of challenges and controversy. And where that brother stood, I ain't really trying to hear the gospel from you. So if that's the gospel, your damn skip it done went too far, like it or not.
But those of you who think that gospel music has come too far, you ain't seen nothing yet.
For those of you who think me cussing my son punk ass the hell out, he deserved this shit.
Listen, but it's funny you say that, Dr. Carl Mack. I'm surprised that you even went that route. See, you always surprise me with the routes that you take. Right. I'm thinking you're about to go right, but you take left. And that is a good point that you bring up, though. And that's a lot of times, and you know, and I don't want to get too deep in this conversation, but I will say that's a lot of times what causes a lot of people to, divert from going to church, who are when they saw that, you should have seen the conversation in the Twitters. You should have seen the conversation on the Instagrams. They were saying that this is why I don't go to church, because these are our leaders, right? These are our leaders, and I don't want to hear the word and what they encourage me to do every day when they're not utilizing it in their own lives. But I also want to remind people that right? I get on here and I'll tell you guys, hey, I'm a Christian. And then, I'll talk about this and that and the other. And people will say, well, that's not Christ-like of her. And that's all right, because I'm a work in progress. But I still believe that I am someone who is like a messenger, right? I give a word. I give a word, maybe not the word, but I give a word, and you got a following behind it. And not many people may like it. Many people may like how I say that I am a follower of Jesus, and at the same time I talk about sex, or at the same time I may say a curse word, or whatever the case may be. But listen, let me tell you, you got to be real as they come, right? And I think seeing Kirk Franklin in that way, it showed me that he was real. But I have leaders too, though, that made me question their leadership. A lot of them.
Queen.
Lot of them. Go ahead.
I get it. See, we members of the sheep. He's the shepherd. There's a higher standard for the shepherd. I ain't trying to hear that shit from the shepherd. Okay, I get it. But he's the damn shepherd. No. Bad.
You can't stand Dr. Mac.
So listen. Okay. Now, I don't know. See, I don't know. I do feel the kind of way that he like right now. So he had this song, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Melodies from heaven. I think that was it. Rain down on me. That song, right? Mm-hmm. And then so it was remixed with like an Uncle Luke type beat. And they had the girl in a thong, like a caricature in a thong, and they had like her behind being slapped with the rain, and they was like, rain down on me, rain down on me. And then Kirk Franklin got upset and said the only melodies from heaven will be he's like there was no remix when it comes to the gospel music. But then I'm thinking to myself, but the first song you did had salt and pepper in it. And then he recently dropped a song. I think it was with Lil Baby, not like too long ago. So that hypocrisy right there.
The We Will Win song. Oh my gosh.
I'm like, but I don't want to hear melodies from heaven with people getting their ass smacked. No, because when I hear melodies from heaven, I'm asking the Lord to rain his blessings down on me. I want him to rain his blessings down. That's what I want. I want blessings, not other things. Okay. Now, but he was, and I understood what he was saying when he said that. When it's about the Lord, let it be about the Lord. But he be remixing, he be adding all kinds of stuff. And like him doing this worldly thing, right? What the old folks call worldly, this worldly thing in the church. Like, I don't mind it, but it's also like he does play both sides of the fence for me.
Well, Queen, I'm going to just go ahead again from the Sunday school dropout. I think somewhere somebody said, beware of the wolf in sheep's clothing.
He ain't going to let it go. All right, then. Listen, we're going to keep it right there.
I hope you watching this and you can appreciate that while I was in Sunday school, before I dropped out, I didn't hear the word. I actually listened to the word. And I ain't fooled by that shepherd. Because that's all.
Listen,
like it
or not. Okay, so we have some more great clips, and I think these are great. You say, Dr. Mack, that you not only in Sunday school were hearing, you were understanding, you were learning, and you were applying in that time. And so these next two clips, I want for all of us Black people. And
Hello?
this next
Is this
clip,
on?
Yes, it's on.
Girl, you know he can't stay away, girl.
I don't like him being. I don't like it.
And doesn't know how to stay off when he actually is supposed to be doing something else, apparently.
Girl, you know he can't be.
Listen, it's the after party.
I was literally about to transition so well into this next clip.
I know.
Here you go.
But y'all attacking my boy Kirk Franklin. That's my dog. Y'all had to come in and defend my boy Kirk Franklin for a second. But not for real. Not for real.
You let it please. What you saying about that, man?
But I also would say this has got to be one of the funniest segments I've seen in a long time, and it should go viral. And if Kirk sees it, I just wanted to be on the record that I still want to do an album with him. So that's all I got, Rebecca. It's in your hands.
And mind you, I've seen Kirk live so many times, and I've been in worship with him and all kinds of stuff. So, I ain't mad at Kirk, but these days I don't know the difference between the gospel and the rest of everything. It all sounds the same to me.
And that's a wolf in sheep clothing, man.
I can't stand y'all.
Being gone. So, like I was saying, Dr. Rack, as we transition into these next clips, let's see how we can be taught as if we're in Sunday school with these next two clips. Let's take a look. Okay. I hope it is. I can't hear it.
Those are your cookies. That's when you're gonna. Another one of y'all worst fucking nightmares. Look at y'all. Y'all running away. No, stay right there. Stay right there, because you need to fucking hear this. You need to hear this. This yours up here is ownership, a possessive adjective. Those are your cookies. That's when you're gonna use this. But this, y'all have to slow down with this one, because y'all use this anytime. This means you are. Yeah. This means you are. So stop just using it whenever you want to use it. How about you say it to yourself first? Those are you are cookies? Those are you are cookies? Oh my God, that sounds fucking insane. Y'all think this apostrophe is an earring? A hat, a bag to the letter U. And that's where you're wrong at. That's where you're wrong at. This is an apostrophe. The word itself means you are. That just splits the word up. This is not an accessory. It's an apostrophe.
It's not an accessory. It's an apostrophe, right?
She is sad. She said that apostrophe is not an earring. You guys think it's accessory. This is not an accessory. It is not an earring. Okay? You are cookie. No, it's your cookie. And yes, like she says, those two things chew us up. They chew us up on social media as we are reading people for filth, as we are trying to lay down the law. It chews us up. It chews us up. Okay? And I think it's time for us to start. And then she says, stop blaming spell check. Okay? You're the human person. As you see spell check do that thing, spell check do that thing, spell check do that thing, to let them know that you understand that was a mistake. Okay? We've come too far. We've come too far. I know that we can't be on these internets trying to drag people, and we can't get your together.
Queen, I'm going to just say this. I am convinced that if this sister was teaching us English, we'd all be a little bit better.
We all be a little bit better. We all be a little bit better. I think so too. I think there's one more teaching that we have from this beautiful queen. Let's take a look at what else she's teaching us.
AP2, Dwayne.
Look where the fuck I'm at. I just want to give you all a little glimpse of what minds are. This is what comes to my head when I'm reading something and it says, oh, he's minds. He's minds? Is he a minor? This is the minds right here. This is the minds that you bitches be talking about. Yes, this is the minds. Mine and minds are two different words. Mine. Ownership. He is mine. She is mine. That is mine. But minds, when you add that S, you take me here. You take me here. Please, go give me my hard hat. Y'all taking me to the mines? This is the mines. This is where you take me when you add that asshole.
Dang, girl, I know. And when she says hoe, she spells it at Heaux because it's out of love. Listen. Okay? Now, minds and minds literally has us in a chokehold. Okay? I don't understand why people be like, even in the song that we heard, he's mine. You may have had him once, but I got him all the time. They don't say he's mine. You may have had him once, but even in that song, they had the correct word. But I don't understand why and this is, I'm really going to get on us black folks on this one. You know, white folks sit in the corner. This ain't for you. But for my black folks, I don't understand why we do that. We'd be like, yeah, that's mine's. Yeah, that's mine. That's mine's right there.
That's
mine right there. No, it's not. What is that? Like she said, you take me here. Where's my hard hat? You're taking me to the mines. Okay. Now we can't be doing, even these rappers are using them in actual songs. These current rappers in today's TikTok day are using it with the S in the songs. And the kids are listening to it. And what they're doing, they're taking it to their kindergarten. They're taking it to their preschool and saying, that's mine's.
That's mine. Let it go. That's mine.
Queen, I don't know. See, okay, I get your and you are your. I get that. But sometimes we like to play with language, right? Sometimes. Because if I was looking at her, okay, I ain't going there. I'm too old. I ain't going there.
That's mine. If you were looking at her, she would. No, let me tell you. I want my man to know the difference when he is claiming me in these streets. Okay, when he is claiming me on the people's internets, it needs to be that is mine, because I feel like I am yours, not yours.
But Queen, what if you looked at her and you go, your hair, your earrings, this and that, all that's mine's.
It still don't sound right to me. It still don't sound right. It's mine. Amen. It's mine.
Okay. But I can't. But see, if I want to put mine in plural, then I need to name all of parts of you that are mine's.
No? I don't know how many of you are there. I just want one. It's mine. That means that there's some of you to go around to other people. I need to know that I am yours. YOURS. And it's mine. One person. Mine.
Queen, listen. I wanted her hair. I wanted her shoulders. I wanted her. I wanted that. And so all of that is mine's. No.
Mine's.
We not doing that. Dr. Mac, I can't get. We're not gonna do that on this one. It's mine.
Okay. Well, you know what? I need the next word I need for her to deal with is irregardless.
Okay. Talk about it. And I think she has one for that.
Let's talk about it.
And on the next episode, if we do, because that one chews us up right there too. That one
messes us up every time.
It takes us back.
It ain't even a word.
Queen, I also want you to go to Charlie Wilson when he said, I was conversating.
I know in that song. He did say that. He did say that in that song. He did. That's another word. There's so many things. Now, there are some that we'll say, and we know that those are part of our, our how we word things, and yeah, that's our talk. We talk the way we talk, right? But some of these words, you guys are abusing them, and you are making them true and real. Now, we can't be in the people's school reading and looking at mine and saying mine's. We're not doing that at the pure age of, you're about 45. You got 45 and you saying that's mine's? Sir, lose my number. At this point, no, I can't do it. But we are gonna play more of her videos. I love her lessons. I love her teaching.
Queen, I just want to be sure that at 59 plus, for me, under no circumstances are you allowing mines for me.
Sir. Yes. It needs to be with an E at the end. It needs to be with an E at the end.
Okay. The queen,
like I told you,
the queen you have ruled, and I shall obey. Not I will obey. I shall obey.
That's it. It got to be with an E at the end. But yo, I love you guys. Mean it. We have come to the end of the show. I'm trying to be on time so that Ben is not hitting us up. And we got jobs after this. I know you may have to go play golf, Dr. Mac, but we got to go log in to that 9 to 5. And I said this on the main show before we got out of there. CarMax, I am on that ass. You got my family member in your job during this literally in a cubicle farm where a whole bunch of people are not required to say if they are vaccinated or not for training purposes. And she says you guys have yet to do any training. You're doing actual just regular work that you were doing at home now in the building. I got a problem with that, CarMax. I got a problem with that. So all of you guys that are watching, head over to my Twitter, blast, retweet my tweet about CarMax. I want them to reach out to me. I want them to hit me up so I can go head to head, because I can't even hang around my sister, the only family that I have here in Georgia, because she's possibly has been around people who have COVID. We don't even know.
Yeah.
And what they will say if something happens to her. Well, we had masks and we had hand sanitizer.
Terrible.
And replace her. So anyways, we're at the end of the show. I love you guys so much. I hope that you guys do not have to go into anybody's office. I hope that if you can fight it. I love you guys. Let's look, like, exactly. We are tired. We are tired.
We is tired.
Okay? Tired. I love you guys. Mean it, Bubba. Let's take it to some music, okay? Take it to some music.
We will see y'all tomorrow, y'all. Make sure y'all go have a great day. Make it awesome. Your affirmation for today: I am so proud of my strength to walk away from what doesn't deserve me. I am so proud of my strength to walk away from what doesn't deserve me, y'all. Happy Taco Tuesday, everybody. We will see y'all in the morning. Deuces.